So they oppressed your people, raped and pillaged, stole as they pleased, and left you a book. The missionaries' objective, justifying the war machine, greed and desires, all justified by, if you're not plowing the land, then it's ours. I mean, you gotta think how crazy people went ahead and justified themselves to salute a foreign ideology. Why would anybody, condition themselves to worship any form of oppressor? You just gotta look in their actions of their ancestral past. That's ridiculous. They need to just knock that whole British flag bullshit out. They're tripping over that. Then they're gonna have the rainbow flag represent, all the goofnecks. The political system. Talking about we didn't steal the rainbow from the kids. We used it as our trademark to represent the acronym community. The gay, lesbian, bi, whatever the hell else they want to put in the list. And if you see the political nature of everything right now, these guys are all perverts, pedophiles. It's a rite of passage for you to be blackmailed and voluntarily give some form of perversion, extreme level perversion, prior to signing the contract. And that Hollywood status, the elite, whatever you want to call it, has went ahead and been applied in the political agenda, or in reverse nature. Political agenda went ahead and was copied through the Hollywood elite. However you want to look at it, it's both no good. These kids ain't lying. Macaulay Culkin, all of them ain't lying. The Coreys, things like that. But that's just the small stuff. So now they went ahead and forced corporate oppression, quiet war machines, to black ops, and to private industry as a go-to. So that way, hey, we weren't involved, we didn't do it. Because you're backing and financing it. Man, I saw the most biggest in Santa Monica, right near the 24-hour fitness. That's right there in Santa Monica. Close to the Venice side. Black Rock. Dang, it was right there, a big facility, and it had his name right there too. Right next to the airport, that small little mini airport, and that park. You hit the back way from 25 Fitness, boom, you go by the Black Rock side street, and then you see the park and the airport to the left of the gate. You look at it like, whoa, it looked like a big, nice place like this. It wasn't hidden, it was labeled, and but these corporate entities are becoming the treasonous, extension of where a lot of tax dollars are going in terms of, placing extreme level of treason and oppression toward its own citizens, toward the world in general. But let's go beyond that. So now Elon Musk wants to go ahead and take the sacred name of Tesla, providing Nikola Tesla, providing free energy for the world, and Westinghouse and all the warning. How are we going to put the meter on this thing? We're not going to put a meter on this thing. We're going to surpass this industry of suffering, and we're going to maximize the potential of humanity so everyone can focus and rejuvenate this world in a more positive climatic direction and maximize and exceed everyone's potential. Like, nope, that's wrong. Well, hi, little kitty. She's just trying to survive, too. She goes, I need a little snuggle out, too, get a little power nap. So that way people can have free energy and they can study and focus. It's such a world of oppression that's in a retard state, that people are really participating, applying in. You know, I wish everyone would just go back to candlelight, man, and never mind. It's, you know, bankrupt the whole oil situation. Everyone just trade and fend off each other. You know what I mean? In terms of, you know, just share their resources and let all these people just be forced to convert or bankrupt themselves toward the new demand, which the new demand will be of what? Unity, world peace, and healing nature, physical, healthy food, you know, exercise, and just the rejuvenation of the inner kingdom, the inner divinity within us all. You know, summoning that process, because the exterior perception of what's happening is, wow, you get all these exterior negative perceptions, stimulants, conditioning, and they want to go ahead and say, wow, this is my environment. I need to find an exterior source to solve this. That's backwards. You know what I mean? That's like, you know, going to the troublemaker and saying, hey, you know what? How can we solve this situation? The troublemaker is not going to solve it. The troublemaker is going to create more trouble by deceiving you again to have you participate in another act. You know, so the first step to primarily dissolve this bitterness and this frustration, this chaos that many people participate in blindly, is to spread the awareness of this exterior solution that's being provided by the oppressors of the world, by the people that are involved, invested in the industry of misery, the industry of suffering, the industry of anxiety, the industry of toxic health and demise choices. You know, there's 1,500 liquor stores in Compton, but there's none in Beverly Hills. That already tells you everything's premeditated and planned. Matthew 17:21 is omitted. You know what I mean? It's a footnote now. All it's saying, if you have any diseases and things like that, fast and inner prayer. But they don't want that in there in the NIV, you know? So it's so crazy how it's so obvious that everything's steeped into a direction to where, hey, we're going to go ahead and mislead you guys on purpose, and we're going to show you guys on TV. We're going to show you what we're doing in the manipulation. We're going to give away billions to Ukraine, billions to Israel, and everyone's going to still not break their strides, still be marching toward their own doom. It's like the only way humanity wants a form of unity is when in our long line that now we're finally united, but our chains are connected to our necks. You know what I mean? All connected one long old line. That's the only way they see this form of unity, with this humanity mindset we're placing now toward each other and toward ourselves. All because of the exterior solution is being manipulated in a way to where we're going to show you what your solutions are, but little do you know that we're setting up and advertising all these obstacles just for you, so you can select your doom. And we're going to profit and be financed by your participation no matter what you choose. Wow, that's some serious market of suffering, the market of bitterness, and the market of division. This has been happening since the Roman times, and nothing was any different. Instead of oil was the king, you know what I mean? It was, I am the king. You want to claim king? We're going to crucify you. You know what I mean? We'll set an example for you. As long as you stay away like the Essenes and do your thing in the desert away from us with no influence and no cause, no, uprising, we'll leave you alone. You know what I mean? So they had a certain level of content. They weren't trying to dominate the whole entire world in every single cave. They said, as long as you stay away, we're okay. That's why the Essenes removed themselves from society and stayed out in the wilderness, out in the desert areas, for the sake of what? We're going to focus on our peace and build ourselves up to where we purify ourselves, because that side of town right there is all a bunch of temptation and choices that we don't need. So we're going to step our feet away from that and dust ourselves off away from that. We can't control this free will out here. You know, they're trying to create democracy and liberation long time ago, but it was really self-enslavement and to be self-pimped, prostituted by your own emotions, by your own temptations. So for the sake of inner wellness, inner awareness, inner rejuvenation, this will change the whole outlook in terms of what we see in our exterior perspective. Because no longer will you be searching for an exterior solution. You'll be looking within. Therefore, all the true selfless teachings that I believe the ancient writings and the scribes that were prior to the political canonization of spreading the industry of oppression so freely was all about selfless purity. Because why would selfless purity be the goal? Because it doesn't benefit anyone. It benefits everyone. You know, if I go ahead and rejuvenate myself internally, I am at peace, and my inner wellness and my awareness is already defeating temptation. It's already defeating sin, defeating deceit. And it doesn't cost anyone no money to choose this, but the speculation and the discipline to decide and want to what? Repent, which is the truthfulness of building your foundation so truthful to yourself that you're not deceiving yourself, that you're actually changing. Now they want to go ahead and benefit off it, like, okay, let's sacrifice the sheep and the lambs and stuff like that. But oh, when you come up here, oh, that's not blemished free enough. So we're going to give you one 30 times more. So we already figured out a way to, like, you know what, this is not going to last too long. We're going to have to change it to, we're going to have the people use their emotions and self-enslave and be shameful and have all these excuses that we're going to provide through our missionary and through our oppression and through our war machine efforts to torture and recondition people for generations after generation to where they go like this. You know what? You are our oppressor, and you are the ones that will determine how we live, and you're going to be our choice of sources for the solutions that you set upon society, because we know that you instigated and premeditated this whole industry from the start. But we don't care no more. It's like a slave. You know, there's thousands of slaves on a plantation and 10 owners. The gate's wide open. But they've been doing this for 80 years. It's safer to do this than to go out on their own. You know what I mean? Take a chance on their own. You know what I mean? So the comfort, attitude, and mindset has been obediently tortured into their soul, spirit, and psyche and entire being, to where the gate could be completely open, but they won't choose liberation. How sad. Bigelow, Hoganante, Tautamona. Worship no one, not even myself.